Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying the new videos that I put out this week. I got that contest going on. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the contest at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. And then I also put out a little while ago that fishing vid with my new GoPro Hero 2 camera that I got. I'm still working the kinks out of that. I know that the angle on that was a little bit rough, and you couldn't see a lot of the stuff that I was doing with my hands. But it'll get better. It'll get better and better, and I'll figure out how I'm going to format these videos. But I think it'll be pretty good. So leave good comments on that. If you have constructive criticism, I'd love to hear it. And like the videos if you like them. Really appreciate it. As far as the review for this week, we've got the I'm a Bill Lowen square bill crankbait. This is another Japanese crankbait with that fiberglass lip. And got a lot of things to talk about on this, so let's go ahead and do it. Okay, guys, so the I'm a Bill Lowen square bill crankbait. One size here. This is just the 2 1/4 inch, and it has a weight of 3/8 of an ounce, and they call it a diving depth of 0 to 3 feet, and it has number 6 size treble hooks on it. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a measurement just to get it out of the way. The body, without the ring on the front and without the ring on the back, is about 2 1/8 inches. And then if you use both rings, the ring on the front and the ring on the back, it's about 2 3/8 of an inch. And then when you use the bill and the overall length with the ring on the back, you're right at 2 1/2 inches. Okay, so it's that normal size crankbait that I like fishing, like the 1.5 size, which is normally 2 1/2 inches. So good size here. Now, what else do we want to talk about? Let's talk about our diving depth first. Okay, it says it has a 0 to 3 foot diving depth. I find that this is a much shallower diving crankbait than 3 foot. I think you would have to work really hard to get it down to that 3 foot range. This to me is a 0 to 1.5, 0 to 2 foot crankbait. It acts a lot like a wake bait. It's not a wake bait by any means. It definitely dives underwater, but it seems to be right at home in that 1 foot, 1.5 foot zone there. So if you have really shallow water or you have high weeds and you want to try to run over the top of that, this is the crankbait, you guys, because this is just going to get right underneath the water, and it's going to mow right through that stuff, because it is a square bill crankbait and does have that squared off lip, and it has that aggressive wide wobble. Now let's talk about the wobble here for a second. A lot of the crankbaits that you have, well, the one that comes to mind, like the Rapala DT Fat or like a Bandit square bill, they have a real wide aggressive wobble. And like most of your square bill crankbaits, this one has that same really wide aggressive wobble, but it has a really aggressive rolling action as well. So it goes through the water like this, much like a wake bait does. So it acts kind of like a wake bait in 2 respects. The respect that it dives very shallow, and that it has a really big rolling action. Let's talk about the rattle or lack thereof inside. I don't want to say lack thereof because that sounds kind of negative, but I guess you can say it has a rattle. It's that same ballast chamber that you're going to find in most of your crankbaits that some people use, that Moonlight as a rattle. This one moves inside, and you can hear it inside, but it's very faint. The camera microphone is probably picking it up very, very well, but it's very, very subtle. Okay. So it does, I would say it has a rattle, but a very faint one. The details of the bait, you can see we have our etched scales on here, very nice. And it has that raised gill plate. You've got the 3D holographic eyes on there that are indicative of the I'm a brand. That same one, the same ones that they use in most of their baits. It has that little triangle right there, where the sclera would be. So just overall good fit and finish on the bait here. Now let's talk about the hooks. The hooks are small. especially for a bait this size. They seem rather small to me. Now this will kind of segue into the floating. It's a fast floating lure, you guys. It'll get back up to the surface very, very quick for you. And I don't know if that has to do with, I don't know if the shallow diving part of this bait has to do with the fact that it's so fast of a floating lure. I suppose you can change these hooks out. It might change the dynamic of the bait if you change the hooks out to bigger hooks because you don't like the smaller hooks, because they are rather thin. They're good hooks, you guys. They're good hooks. They're just small. And if you decide to change the hooks out, keep in mind that it's probably going to change the dynamic of the bait and make it float a little bit slower. It might even change how the bait rolls or wobbles. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying these are things to consider. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm hitting all my points, so I made some notes today. They say that this bill is Lexan. Okay, it looks like fiberglass to me. I'm gonna give you guys a little schooling lesson. Lexan is a brand of hard, particular, unbreakable polycarbonate resin used for shatterproof windows and the like. Polycarbonate is kind of, it's like a clear plastic, you guys. It looks more like the bill on this RC 1.5 from Lucky Craft. And this is nothing like that. This is fiberglass. So I think that they may have misspoke when they said it was Lexan. And Lexan is a brand of polycarbonate anyway, and it's supposed to be capitalized, and they didn't even, they just lowercase Lexan. And I'll go ahead and post the definition of Lexan right here just in case anybody's interested, and I'm sure you're not, but there it is anyway. Also, you can see this one says Squirrel. They both say it. Squirrel right on the back. So it's just something to point out that I don't want it to you guys to be misled by the fact that they called it Lexan, because I don't think it's Lexan. I think it's fiberglass, just like the Jackall, Aska, or the Spro Fat John. Now let's talk about the lip. You remember when I did this lure review last week, I said that it had a thicker lip, or that the Jackall had a thicker lip than the Ima. So let's go ahead and take a measurement of it. Each mark on here is 1/100th of an inch. So you can see this is 3/100ths of an inch thick. You can see that this one is just a shadow under 3/100ths of an inch thick. And you'll see this one is 2/100ths of an inch thick. So it's not just my imagination, it is a thinner bill. I don't think that it makes it any less weak. They might want that bill to be a little bit thinner. So just in the interest of being complete, that's the measurement on that bill for you, okay? You can tell that this bill is just glued into the bait, okay? You can see where the epoxy is right there on the edges. So what else do we want to talk about here? I'm sorry, I normally don't go off of notes, but today there was just things that I wanted to really make sure I talked about, so I'm going to refer to my notes today, okay? So, the wandering action. They talk about it having a wandering action. A lot of the squirrel crankbaits that I have, I don't really even talk about it a lot, about the wandering action, unless it's very pronounced. This one does have a wandering action, and the way you can tell a wandering action is if the bait, if it's not coming back to you in a straight line, if it's kind of just going one way as you're on a straight retrieve, if it's going one way and then you see it going back to the other way and then kind of going back the other way. And when we talk about wandering, we're talking about 5 inches, maybe 10 inches max. I mean, it's just a few inches, okay, you guys? And that's different from having to tune a bait because it's pulling off to the left or it's pulling off to the right. Now this bait does have a wandering action, okay? It does go from left to right to left to right. It kind of just goes all over the place, which could help increase your strikes. So, very nice crankbait, you guys. I mean, it's what you would expect from a bait that's $16, okay? Now you'll notice the colors that I got. I got 2 of the Bluegill colors. They've got a whole gamut of colors, and Tackle Warehouse has a ton of them. But you can see that I got the 2 Bluegill colors. I got the opaque matte finish, and then I also got the foiled finish. So this one's just called Bluegill, and this one's foiled Bluegill. So the opaque finish, you can see it's just got the blue dot right there. It's got a black back, and it's kind of a flat black. It's not really looking flat in this. You can see the lights in my room here. That it's you can see that it looks more glossy, but it's a flat black, you guys. Okay, if not, it's a satin. How about that? But this is just called Bluegill. Very nice looking color, especially for stained water. And here is the other one. This one's got a blue back. They both got that orange belly, throat, whatever you want to call it. But you can see the little, it's kind of like little circles that are in, it's almost like a holographic foiled finish. But this is just your regular foiled finish. Foiled finishes tend to chip a little bit easier, so keep that in mind. I haven't experienced any chipping on this particular bait, but it doesn't mean it won't. So this is called foiled bluegill. Alright guys, so great crankbaits here, worth the money, especially if you want to really, a shallow, you want to hit that 2-foot range in your shallow diving, heavy cover crankbait world. So these are great little crankbaits. You know, I meant to show the lip up against like an RC 1.5. You can see how much thinner it is by comparison. But they're completely different designs. I mean, the lips are just, they're made out of completely different materials. So, but in the interest of being complete for our review, I'm showing you anyway. So there it is, you guys. Now I said I was going to talk about our contest. The contest is doing very, very well. People are getting the right answer, which is why I'm not giving away any hints. So with that being said, I'm going to end the contest next week. By next week, when we do our lure review next week, we'll have a declared winner. And I don't know if I'm going to make a separate video for the declared winner or if we're going to wrap it up into another review. I think I'm going to do a separate video just so we can keep these contest videos and the reviews kind of separated from each other. I don't mind talking about them in the reviews, but we really want to keep them separated, I think. So I'll probably do a separate video, just be a short one, and declare a winner. So 1 week, it'll probably be either Wednesday or Thursday, whenever I get that video out. But it's going to be a week. So if you guys want to get in on this, just make sure you subscribe, like the video, and find the letters. I know that it's been difficult, you guys, for some people. Some people really didn't like the contest. A lot of people really liked it. But with that being said, I didn't want to make it easy. I wanted it to be more difficult, especially I wanted it to be more difficult than the last contest that I have. I'm going to do more contests. I'll probably do another contest in the month of November, to be honest with you guys. But I wanted this one to be a little bit more difficult than the other one. So just keep that in mind. It is relevant to what we're doing here. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say about that. So and you don't have to do the contest if you don't want to. If you don't like it, don't do it. I mean, it's plain and simple. I've had people complain to me about it. If you don't like it, don't do it. So, but for those of you that will, I mean, I'm trying to give you guys, you know, a thumbs up your way, because I really appreciate the people that really enjoy the channel, and they've been with me for a while now, and I'm really hoping that we can get more subscribers to our channel and make this more successful for us, because I enjoy doing the reviews for you guys, and I have a lot of fun doing the talking to the different people that are all around the country, and that's fun for me. So with that being said, I'm not going to ramble on any more than that. The contest is going to win, or it's going to end in a week. I'll declare a winner on a separate video, and that's that. Like I said, the fishing videos, I'm going to try to get those out. Fishing's going to start getting pretty slow here. Probably the wrong time of the year for me to just start up doing fishing videos, but I'm going to try my hardest to get out there and make sure we get some footage. I go out every week, so I'm going to try to make sure that I catch a bunch of fish every week, and you guys are going to see different different places. I'm going to go out to Lake Shasta and go for the spotted bass and smallmouth bass. I'll go out to Whiskeytown and hit up the spotted bass out there. And but I love the largemouth bass fishing. That's a lot of fun to me. I can power fish it, and that's just the way I like to fish. So you're going to see a lot of that fishing in my videos. So with that being said, thanks for watching, you guys. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button down over there. I really appreciate it. And just keep on watching, you guys. I really, really appreciate it. You guys don't know what it means to me. And the I'm a Squirrelbill crankbait. Oh, and the other thing, I still haven't got my other Squirrelbills in. We've got 2 more reviews to do for Squirrelbills. We've got the ABT X2 that still hasn't come in, because that's going to come in when the Balsa B by, who is that company that makes that? By Bagley. Oh, I can never remember it, but I've got the Bagley coming in. I'm waiting for that. It keeps getting pushed back on the back order by 3 or 4 days. So, I mean, we've been doing this for like 3 weeks straight now. They keep pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. So I'm still waiting on that to get in. And then we're going to start up our reviews on rip baits next. This is probably not going to be very fun for a lot of people, because a lot of people don't rip bait fish, but to be honest with you, that is the way we fish up here in Northern California. We fish rip baits. We love it. That's my favorite way to fish. So we're going to be getting into that at the end of November.